In today's episode, you won't stop cold calling a printing company to sell us printing unless I agree to set up a meeting with one of your reps. Okay then. I just have to see an ID. You don't have to convince me you're telling the truth. No, I don't think I'll change my password. So let's get started. You won't stop cold calling a printing company to sell us printing unless I agree to set up a meeting with one of your reps. Okay then. I'm not sure if this quite counts as malicious compliance, but I was just doing what they wanted me to, so I guess it fits. In the mid-2000s I worked for a small printing company. Our commercial work was on large lithographic machines, but we still had office printers and a number of staff who knew a lot about them. I don't think a single one of our office printers had been purchased new or even working. The owner just bought lots of broken office printers for not a lot of money, and then Frankensteined them into working ones. We didn't often buy printer paper, because we just cut leftovers from the factory to suitable sizes for the office. Overall, our office printing costs were extremely low despite the fact that we printed tens of thousands of pages a year. I was a general office dog's body. Among my duties was fielding calls for the director. He would never take calls from cold callers, and I was allowed to describe myself as whatever job title they wanted to hear to deal with them. An office printing management service had got our number. They were offering a completely managed service where they loaned the machines, supplied the consumables, took care of everything, and you just paid per print. Great for some companies, expensive and unnecessary for us. When they first started ringing, I kept telling them, sorry, we aren't interested, please remove us from your list, or we're a printing company. We don't need managed printing services, please take us off your list. This must have gone on for months, and I was getting annoyed that they wouldn't take us off the call list and started spending more time trying to explain to them why it was pointless and a waste of both our time to keep ringing. I explained the information above, but the caller was convinced he could save us money regardless of all that. I guaranteed him he couldn't, as I doubted we paid more than a penny a page. Naturally, he didn't believe me. As far as he was concerned, if I was answering the phone, I was the office junior. No one important answers the phone, who had no idea how much printing actually cost, and just too stubborn and or stupid to put him through to someone that mattered, and if he persisted eventually he'd get through to the right person who would reward him with a juicy contract. This same conversation was had at least once a week for the next month or two. He's desperate to let me set up a meeting. Besides, he says can take us off the list once he's set up a meeting with a decision maker. Right, fine, sure, you can book a meeting for your reps, but I guarantee it will be a complete waste of their time. I scheduled them a meeting with the office manager, me, on a Friday afternoon when I'm the only one in the office, so I won't be too busy and it'll be a diversion. The reps arrive, I show them into the office. They are clearly thinking we spend a lot on printing because we have so many damn printers, and I gave a rough idea of how much we get through in the office. They give me their enthusiastic spiel about all the advantages, focusing on the costs. They want to sit down with the figures and see what they can save us. Do I know what we spend at the moment? Paraphrased conversation. Me, not completely sure, think it's around 100 to 200 pounds a year. Rep, now that'll be a lot more than that with the amount of printing you do. Is that just the paper? Me, no, that's just ink and toner. Rep, look skeptical, well there's the paper too. Me, to be honest, we mostly cut down leftover paper from the factory, or sometimes suppliers give us a few cases for free. Rep, okay, right, so what about the initial costs of the machines? If you average it out over the lifetime of prints rather than considering it just as capital expenditure, it can make up a significant portion of your printing costs. This photocopier, for example, it's a few years old now, and you're looking at about £12,000 to replace it with a similar spec machine. So with our service you can avoid that capital expense. Me, the owner buys them broken and repairs them. Most of the printers only cost a few quid, except the photocopier, which I think cost us £700. As even broken they are expensive, and it took 3 broken ones to make that one working one. Rep, right, so when you need to replace it. Me, I hazard to guess he'll do exactly the same again. Rep, and the ongoing maintenance costs. Me, straight face. Rep, then there's the costs and lost productivity of downtime to consider. He is trailing off at this point. It's clearly part of his rehearsed spiel, but he can also see downtime isn't an issue when we bizarrely have more printers than computers. Rep, there's absolutely no point us being here, is there? Me, no, I'm afraid not. That was repeatedly explained to the guy who set up the meeting, but he said your company won't stop cold calling until we agreed to a meeting, so here you are /__/. The reps agree it is a complete waste of time, have a bit of a frustrated laugh about the call center, and say it's not the first time they've been sent to completely pointless meetings because the call center folks get their commission based on the quantity not quality of the meetings they set up. They don't bother giving me their quote. I never heard from the company again. I just have to see an ID you don't have convince me you're telling the truth. I used to install cable and internet for the local cable company. The company has the same name as a college football team in Ohio with red as their school color. This is my last job of the day, and it's only a modem swap. I swap out their outdated modem for a new one copy and paste their Wi-Fi name and password onto the new one, and that's it. The house is massive and in a really nice neighborhood. Get to the door, ring the bell, and the customer's son is there. Dude looks young, so I ask to see an ID to make sure he's 18 or older. Company policy 90% of the time I don't ask if the customer looks old enough. The son gets argumentative right away and starts telling me how he's in college, he's actually 21, and he even has his CCW. And I tell him the policy and that he just looks young, and I'm only covering my butt. This isn't good enough, he says hold on, and calls his mom, who is the actual account holder, and on her way home. I see where he gets his attitude from when he puts his mom on speakerphone, and she tells me how she knows the owner of the company, she's only 5 minutes away, and that I'll be sorry if I leave before she gets there. She tells me she made that appointment and made sure someone would be there, and that I should just do my job if I like having one. I just say okay, I'll just get started. I head into the basement and notice that their existing modem also does phone. Their work order on the other hand say to replace it with an internet-only modem. So most people that still have a landline for phone only do so for their home security system. And when I remove the phone modem and put in a non-phone modem, you no longer have a security system. By the time mom gets home, I'm all finished and the son is already connected to the Wi-Fi. I apologize, have her sign the work order, and quickly drive off. Maybe 10 minutes later, dispatch calls me and tells me how the customer has a security system, and that they were supposed to get a phone modem, and would I go back? Apparently the customer's security system was blaring and wouldn't shut off. I explained the situation and how the work order didn't say anything about a phone modem. She understands and says she will have another tech head over there when someone is free. I gave the tech a heads up, and he didn't get over there until late evening. Never heard anything else about it. I never did anything wrong. No, I don't think I'll change my password. You know how some companies force you to periodically change your password? I hate doing that. I always end up having to write the changed half my password on my desk, so I don't forget it. I understand why they do this. Every time we change our passwords, it reduces the number of people my idiot coworker shared his password with back down to 0. And it means that maybe, just maybe, he isn't reusing it for every random website on the internet. But since I didn't either of those things, it just annoyed me to no end. So one day I'm asked to build some software for them. Basically it wired together their VoIP, voice over IP, aka internet phone, system, and their instant messaging system. It had two parts, a program that ran on the receptionist's computer and a Windows service. A Windows service is a program that runs on your computer but you can't see. It just quietly does its work in the background. They do all kinds of things like manage your printers, watch your battery level, maintain your internet connection, etc. Type services in Windows to see what's running on your computer. Some of these run under a computer account such as local system or network system, others like mine needed to run as a particular person. At the start of the project, I told them they would have to create a fake user account for my Windows service. Silence was my answer. For testing, I installed my new Windows service under my own name. but I told them it would need be changed when it went to production. Still no response. On the day we installed it in its final home, my Windows service was still using my username and password. I told them again, I needed a dedicated user account just for it. Again, they ignore me. It works reasonably well for a few months, then stops. Nothing works. It can't see people's IM status. It can't dial the phone. The receptionist can't do the job. I walk IT through the process of resetting the password on my Windows service to match my new password. 2 or 3 months go by, then it breaks again. Same problem, same solution. After about the 3rd time someone checks the box that says my password never expires. Victory? Epilogue: a few years later the company is bought out and the program I wrote is retired. They never did get around to giving it a dedicated user account, and thus I couldn't change my password even if I wanted to. If you made it to the end of the video, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share, and we will see you in the next video.